Whoever wins the goaltending battle will win this series. The question is, who do you trust? Easily the most predictable round 2 matchup of the Stanley Cup playoffs pits the two best teams in the Metro, the Washington Capitals and the Carolina Hurricanes. And the Canes, they've been here before, quite a few times. It's their 6th second-round appearance in the last 7 years. Pretty impressive. They're kind of known as a second-and-out type of team. That's just historically what they've been. And the Caps, they haven't been here since 2018 when they won the Cup. They tried to get there the following year, but fell short in 7 games against none other than the Carolina Hurricanes. Yes, so this is a rematch from 2019. Here's how the sportsbooks have it. They got the Caps, who have home ice advantage, as the underdogs at plus 136, and the Canes as heavy favorites, minus 164. I think they got it right in terms of who the favorite is, but this series is a lot closer than those odds suggest, at least in my opinion. I find this to be one of the toughest series to call. I really, really do. And a lot of it depends on what happens between the pipes. I think we're getting Logan Thompson against Freddie Anderson. I think so. Logan Thompson seems like he's good to go, and he's been really good this whole regular season and in the playoffs. One of the best goalies in the NHL. I haven't looked at the Vezina voting, but he has to be in the top 5. That's how good Logan Thompson has been. And in the playoffs, he's been pretty good too. Made some big saves against the Montreal Canadiens. And a stat that seems to be more and more popular with kind of understanding how good goaltenders are and can be is goals saved above expected. And his number is at 5.6, which is the best number out of any goaltender that's still remaining in the playoffs. The top of the list is Jacob Markstrom, but he's gone with the New Jersey Devils. And for some context, Connor Hellebuyck, and not to throw shade at Helly, he's having a rough playoff, but he's at minus 9.7. So that just shows you the difference between the two goaltenders and how good Logan Thompson has been. But Freddie Anderson has been pretty good too. Really good numbers. And if you look at Freddie's numbers through the years, specifically in the playoffs, when he's healthy, he's one of the best goalies in the league. And he's looked good so far despite getting injured in Game 4 against the Devils where he had to leave the game. But through 4 games, he's allowed 1 goal, 1.59 goals against, and a .936 save percentage. Freddie is good when Freddie is healthy. The problem is we just don't know when Freddie's going to be healthy. But as of right now, he's good to go. He practiced with the team. He was in one of the nets. All signs point towards Freddie starting Game 1 for Carolina. But again, the question is, how long can he stay healthy for? Special teams, always super, super important. I talk about it all the time in all the previews that I do. A good power play, a good PK can determine a series, especially the later you go in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And how about the Carolina Hurricanes PK? Number 1 in the playoffs. They were number 1 in the regular season, but so far they're at 100%. They held the Devils to 0 for 15. The Devils coming into the playoffs, 3rd best power play in the league. And I know they were missing Jack Hughes, but everyone else was there. But they couldn't solve the Carolina Hurricanes. And their power play was actually pretty good too. And historically, it hasn't been that case under Brindamore. 6 for 19, pretty good. They're feeling it. Svechnikov was talking about how good they're feeling on the power play. And you can just tell they're moving the puck around better. They're scoring different types of goals. They're not so predictable. But going back to the PK, it's more important in the playoffs to have a really good PK than it is to have a really good power play. And that's not me saying that. That's a Stanley Cup coach saying that.
If your penalty kill is not very good, you don't have to live with it too long because you're out of the playoffs. So you've got to have a solid penalty kill to get to the next round. I think it's more important than your power play.
Paul Maurice, Stanley Cup champion, back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. He knows a thing or two about what it takes to win some series. PK is very important, and the Capitals have to find a way to solve that because Carolina is going to give them nothing at 5-on-5. And so they're going to have to score on the power play, which is going to be difficult to do. And one of those players that can determine a series on the Washington Capitals power play is the X factor, Alex Ovechkin. And I know it seems like an obvious one. Oh, the Washington Capitals X factor is going to be Alex Ovechkin, the guy who scored the most goals ever. I understand that. But he loves playing against Carolina. Second most goals in his career have come against Carolina. He's played them one time, like I mentioned, back in 2019. Through those 7 games, 4 goals, 5 assists. And I know that was younger Ovechkin, but does it really matter based on the way that he's scoring and the way that he's playing? There's something to be said about a player who loves playing against a certain team. And when you can marry the numbers with that feeling, that's a deadly combination. It is a deadly combination. I know Carolina's PK is unbelievable, but if there's someone that can solve it, it's Alexander Ovechkin. Now, will he do that? That's a different question. But he's going to be a problem for Carolina in this series, mark my words. The other X factor, another obvious one, it's Tom Wilson. He's one of one. There's no, I mean, not that there's no other players like him. You have Brady Tkachuk and maybe Matthew Nyes to a certain extent. He's not at that level yet, but he's pretty close, right? Big power forward who can throw hits and score goals. That's Tom Wilson, and he does it better than anyone else in the NHL. And his physicality can change the series. His physicality can win a series. We saw what happened against Montreal in the first round. That hit on Alex Carrier changed the series. He comes across the neutral zone, destroys Carrier. They go down the ice to score a goal, and from then on out, it was all Washington. They went on to win the series. One hit from Tom Wilson changed that series, and he's been a lot more disciplined. And that's something Spencer Carberry, their coach, has talked about. He's toned it down a bit. He's learned from past experiences, and that's scary. That's scary for any team, but a huge positive for Washington. Now for Carolina, their X factor, I don't have a specific player, but I'm going with their coach, Rod Brindamore, a.k.a. Carolina's system, because they're going to smother the Capitals. Carolina plays similar to the Florida Panthers, but not the Florida Panthers. They're not as physical. They're not as dirty, but they're heavy is probably the best way to explain it. They forecheck hard, they lean on you, and they don't stop doing that. There were times in the Washington-Montreal series where Montreal did that against Washington and had a lot of success. But they didn't do that throughout the series because that's not how they play. So it was only, in certain moments in certain games. Carolina will do this for 7 games straight and wear you down and wear down that D with their forecheck. That's what they'll do. And that's something the Caps only got a little bit of a taste of in the first round. If Carolina can continue to do that, they're going to have all the chance in the world to win this series. And they don't let a ton of shots come at the net either. The least amount in the playoffs so far. And they shoot a ton. Second most in the regular season. Carolina has everything. If Freddie stays healthy, they can continue to get their scoring from the power play. PK stays at 100%. They get some blue line production, which they have. 4 goals from 4 different defensemen. Washington, just 2 goals from 1 defenseman, and Jacob Chychrun. That's huge. In a tight series where I expect games to be 2-1, 3-2, those goals are being chipped in from defensemen can win you games. Big deal. This is, like I said, this is a tough series, especially after that first round where, Carolina expected to beat New Jersey. New Jersey didn't have their best player. Dougie Hamilton was coming off an injury. And as that series went on, the Devils kept losing players. They lost half their D-core by the end of it. So it's hard to get a true read on Carolina and what they can do in these playoffs. Similar to Washington. They played the youngest team in the playoffs. Montreal, rookie team, still learning the ropes. I mean, a lot of younger players on that team. Rookies in terms of playoff experience is what I'm trying to say. So they were expected to win that series. They won that series. They had a little bit of adversity, but not much. You expect a team that was, battling down the stretch for the President's Trophy to deal with a second wildcard team, and they did. But how much do you take from that series? I'm not quite sure. I think this is the matchup that's going to tell us a lot about both these teams. And you get the best road team in the Washington Capitals and the third best home team in the Carolina Hurricanes. It's split down the middle. It's a tough series to call, but I think if you read in between the lines, you know where I'm going here. I'm going to have to go with the Canes. Canes look good. I don't know how many games. I think it goes probably at least 6 or 7. But I think Carolina, too experienced, too good. PK, and if Freddie Henderson stays healthy, I think that takes them over the top. All right, that's it for me. Let me know what you think. You going Canes, you going Caps, and tell me why in the comments below. Thanks for watching.